Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Przemysław Paczos, and I work for the National Center for Research and Development, which is a government agency. And our main object is to support research and development activities and commercialization of the IP, which comes from environment of the scientific, also from the regular companies. And what I'm going to talk about is our program, which is dedicated to the startups. The name is Bridge Alpha. The official name is Bridge Alpha Supporting R&D Project in Pre-seed Phase by Proof of Concept Funds. I know that this language it's quite sophisticated, but I will try to explain it in normal words. So, what do we do? The main object of our program is to support the funds, to support the funds which are focused on searching on the market very early stage ideas that could benefit in the future on the market. And our ambition is to create startups that will have success, and I hope that soon we will see really global Polish company which grew up here in Poland, and I hope it will be supported by our fund. And at the end, I will show you some examples of the companies that we support, and I have to admit that they are doing very well now, so I hope there will be success soon. But our mission is to support R&D activities. So something which is very important in the startups that we are supporting is the R&D activities. I know that now the startups, it's very fashionable and everyone would like to be a startup, but we have to remember that startup in the very beginning idea, it has to be connected with the technology, with something which is innovated in the scale of the global, that could change the, for example, industry branch. So in our funds, we would like to see in the portfolio companies that got this, let's say, technology nexus that could someday make this company huge and function on the global market. And we are financing those projects on the two phase, which names is proof of principle and proof of concept. We're saying POP and POC. I will explain what does it mean. And we have to also remember that we are focused mostly on the environment connected with the science. So we are looking for the students, for the academia persons who are working on the projects, but as well they are welcome the projects that dealing with normal persons, they are like launched with normal companies, but our most focused thing is this environment of research units. And when we think about the proof of principle, is this very early beginning of the idea for make a business. I hear that every one of us once in the lifetime has an idea to be a millionaire, but we are not so determined. We don't know where to go, who ask how to deal with this, our idea. So that's this solution for the person who want to be a millionaire and got a nice idea, to go to one of our seed funds to have a proper support, legal support, business support to grow the project and establish the company. So this proof of principle phase, it's, for example, it have to be R&D activities. Secondly, it's this initial assessment that we estimate if the technology, if the idea could work, if there is a proper space of the market, because sometimes we've got idea or there is a scientist who has good technology, but it's not enough space on the market to create a startup that could benefit the investors and the founder. And on this phase, we are designing the researcher's plan, the first business plan, the first market validation, the first IP validation. And usually, this proof of principle activities, they are conducted in the universities, in the institution connected with science, but also could be led by normal companies or normal persons. And we call this moment of supporting the project very, very early pre-incubation stage or pre-seed stage. And second step, when we've got this very first validation of the project, there is a phase which we call proof of concept. This definition is quite wide, and it comes from the 60s, I think, and it's sometimes changed depends on the branch. It's different in medicine, and it's different in software. But the common thing is that in this phase, there are R&D activities which, when they are finished with the success, we could apply for IP protection. And we've got the know-how that could be protected and that could be based for the future company behave on the market. And usually, this stage is performed in the spin-off company. How does it look in the Bridge Alpha? So, the main object is to build the relationship between academia and business. That's the biggest problem for the Poland, that we've got very good scientists, we've got very good infrastructure of scientists, and there are very good ideas, but we do not see too much those ideas coming to the market. So, our answer for this problem is to create the proper seed funds where will be proper people with proper knowledge, proper experience to support the scientists to make this very early step to the market. And also, this Bridge Alpha project is one of the puzzle of whole portfolio project which we've got in the National Center for Research and Development. And it should create the supply, the pipeline for the VC investments, because also we've got on our market lack of the proper project that could be ready for the VC investments. So how does it look? We've got two programs. One is Bridge Alpha, those seed funds which I already talked about, and second is Bridge VC. This is a little bit later stage for the project to invest. We would like to invite some experienced managers, teams from abroad, from Silicon Valley or Israel, to bring the know-how how to make the VC investments on Vistula Bank. And when we look on the cycle of the life of the project, first is this pre-seed stage, where we've got incubation and where is this proof of concept moment, proof of principle, I'm sorry. Then we've got the moment when we create the startup. And here we are supporting by Bridge Alpha this proof of concept phase. And then when we've got the product, which is already validated in the RRD side, and it's also checked, including the IP, the law issues, the market possibility of monitoring those kind of technologies. We've got product which is, or company which is ready for invest for the VCs, companies. And basic assumptions of our program. First of all, we would like to see the Bridge Alpha funds which are specialization in some branch. We know that dealing with the project which is life science or which is IT, it's a little bit different. We need different competence, we need different people. So we would like to cover all possible branch and sectors. Secondly, those funds are not too big when we think about the capitalization. The capitalization of each fund is between 10 and 30 million zlotys. We have to remember that this very early stage of validating the project, it's not necessary to have a huge amount of the money. So normally we make this POP validation by using 200,000 Polish zloty. But in the case that it's necessary to spend more money for this, it's of course possible. And then we create the spin-off company, and it's this proof of concept phase. And in this moment, the company could receive from us, from the fund, amount up to 3 million zloty. Usually 1 million zloty is enough, but there are some projects that are very that need more support, and then we could deliver it. And we have to remember that support which is coming from government could also disturb the market, and it's not good to flood the market by the money, but it's important to invest in a smart way. That's why we would like to see in those funds also participation of the private investors. We are civil servants. We do not know each project is good or not good, which could be successful or not successful. We just have to create proper environment and infrastructure for the investors, from the managers, and from the founders to put the product and the company on the market. So this is important that this is not also the money, it's what we call smart money. So it's support with proper mentoring and proper know-how how to deal the project to the market. When we look at the landscape of actors of Bridge Alpha project, first of all, we've got NCRD as a public investor, and secondly, there are private investors. And we are committing money to the fund, which 80% comes from NCRD and 20% comes from the private investors. And what we've got here in incubation management proof of principle, there is this Bridge Alpha fund. And what is this fund? What is the key of the success of this kind of funds? It's the people, and people. Experienced people, usually the best people are those who came from the scientific environments, but also already has an experience in the business. So they could, in proper way, bridge those two separate worlds. Because when you imagine the professor who is dealing with some very serious issue, he's brilliant, he's got amazing idea, but he don't know how to bring this product to the market. So we need the proper person who can to speak with them, who can deal with him, who can sometimes change this R&D plan of researches to the product that could be launched on the market. So those teams, they are usually just take the car, sit in the train, and traveling around Poland, looking for the scientists, for the students with the brilliant idea. Also, all those bridge funds, they are listed on our webpage. There are describing of each of those funds. There are contacts for the managers. So each person that has an idea could contact proper fund and ask them for the conversation, ask them for showing the project and receive the feedback from them if it could be success or no. And when we think about the investment process, we don't want to interrupt this process. As I mentioned, we are civil servants, so what we do is just have an eye if the project's going on the good direction. So we've got the seat in the steering committee, also called investment committee, but we are not voting. We just got this possible to say that certain projects do not have R&D activities or it's later stage, so that it's not supposed to be supported by the funds. But mostly, we just looking at the projects and don't interrupt the investment decisions. So when the team of the Bridge Alpha Fund decide that certain project could be successful, then they establish, on the base of the idea and the founder, the spin-off company. And I have to underline that this support which comes to the spin-off company is mixed, because the 80% of the support which comes from NCRD, it's a typical grant, but the 20% which comes from the private investors, it's the equity stake. So the spin-off company get a grant from NCRD and an investment from the private investors. And in this moment, exchange of the money from the private investor, he receives the proper liquid position in the spin-off company. So in this moment starts a marriage that the founder and the fund, they are in the same company and they are together dealing on the market and together have to go to be a success. In the end of this year, we finished the pilot project of the Bridge Alpha program. And for the 1 year, 2015, we create 10 different preseed funds. And we support them by the amount of 54 million Polish zlotys. And during the operational phase in this 1 year, they have a look on the hundreds of the R&D projects, from which they choose 47 that on the base of those projects were created the spin-off companies, and those spin-off companies were supported by investigation from the funds. And our indicators that we assumed at the beginning, it was that it will be 16 of those companies, but it was 47 of them. So realized that this kind of model could be very successful, and we decided to commit much more money for another edition of this program. What is important that we also require from the funds to make some activities that will spread the knowledge how to deal with so early project, how to behave with the project, and to help the scientists to commercialization they work. So also those funds, they make accelerator for a scientist. It was amazing to see like very purely academia people who are like teach by the market specialists how to speak about the project, how to think about the legal issues and all those, a lot of issues which are important when we are deliver the project to the market. And also there were a program of Alpha School also teaching for the scientists. And below the slides there are logos of our 10 funds. Actually, in this moment, they are like hibernated because we are on the moment that we finish the money from our past perspective of European budget money. And now in the moment to bridge them for the new sources of money. So they are hibernated for now, but not for long. And here are some examples of the investigations that were made by our funds. So first of all, it's Vortex oil. This is a device which simplified drilling the oil. Second is Halo Surgical. It's some kind of robotic and computer-aided surgery thing, which helps to neurosurgical and orthopedical diseases. And also other project is Dendrimeris. It's some kind of add to the drugs that help to be them much more successful. And don't be impressed that those kind of projects are very high scientific, because we've got also much more simple project. For example, there is a Wizard, which is devices e-stethoscope that everyone could has at home, these devices, and check your breath. And if the sound of your breath is proper or not proper, the devices will tell you if you should go to the doctor or not go to the doctor. Also, quite famous project is Flytex Solution. It's connected with the drone industry. It's proper programming to take a photo from the drones and very high resolution of the pictures, and use it, for example, in the cartography. And another quite famous now project is the Photon. It's an education robot. It's a robot which teach children how to programming. And what is amazing in this project is that this robot grew up with your child. So this robot has proper software to create, to accommodate to the world of the child. Where is, for example, his bed, what kind of toys the child has, and the robot take this data and create the world to have an interaction with the child and to teach him very early steps of programming. And now this project is on the Kickstarter platform, and we are hoping that they will be successful. So there's a much more those kind of projects, but what I have to say, not all of them are coming from the professors. There are also projects which are launched by the students. There are just regular companies that they launch another project and it could be supported by our funds. So it's actually dedicated for everyone. Of course, we would like to focus on the academia, but we understand that the portfolio of our funds should be different, so we are welcome for everyone to take a part in this project. And now we are in the moment of choosing another round of the Bridge Alpha funds, And we've got the allocation over 200 million zlotys, euro, I'm sorry, for those kind of seed funds. And number of the funds that we would like created in 1-2 years, it's 40 of them, and we hope that they will support over 500 portfolio company. Now we are waiting for our 47 companies that have been support. We are still count that they get another additional round of investment, that they will be successful, but we have to wait. It's just very early investigation. And on the May and the April, there was a call for proposal for management teams that would like to establish this kind of seed funds. We are in the process of choosing the best of them. And we are expected that in September, those funds will get on the market and start to operating on the market. There will be like 20 of them, and for sure we're going to list that all of addresses and describes of those funds on our web page, that everyone could very easy access, contact them. And usually, how does it look? Normally it's that the person that have an idea, it's called or email the manager from the seed fund, just giving the general description of the project. And then there is a meeting with the manager, and you are signing the agreement with the management team that your project will be on their investigation. And what is important, that you don't have to need any money to go to the fund. All this POP phase, all this very early validation, beginning validation of the project is just money from the fund. So you don't have to invest, you don't have to ask your family, you don't have to go for the loan, you just have to contact the fund, and then by their own money they will like examine your project if it's okay, if it's not okay. And then of course when they decided to establish the portfolio company, they are taking equity stake from your portfolio company. Usually it's around 20%. It's different, sometimes it depends on the kind of project, it depends on the strategy of the fund, but it's, let's say, around this 20%. And of course, the fund is delivered not just the money, but also delivered to experienced person. Experienced person in the market, lawyers. They are making also some researches on your project to be ensured that will be proper to launch on the market. So thank you for your attention. For the more details, you can also contact us. On the webpage of NCRD, there are listed all the employees, the contacts with the emails and telephones. Please call us if you've got any question, if you've got any ideas, and we try to help you as much as we could. Thank you very much.